Let's dive into the similarities and differences between the DualRide and the Doona and how to decide which one is right for you. So the most obvious similarity is that they are both stroller to car seat combination type seats. The other thing that is relatively similar between the two is their size. So if you think about the footprint, the amount of space they're going to take up front to back in the vehicle seat, they both are relatively the same in terms of how much depth they take up. So that's not really a factor to decide. Width-wise, same thing. They both are right around 18 inches, so not your best option necessarily for putting seats side by side, but not a reason to choose one over the other. We really like that they both have anti-rebound bar features. On the DualRide, the anti-rebound bar is on the base itself. So when you're installing with the base, that back panel serves as an anti-rebound bar. And on the Doona, the stroller handle serves as the anti-rebound bar. The other similarity between the two, and this one I'm a little bit sad about, to be honest, is that you still have to lock the vehicle seatbelt when using the vehicle seatbelt installation method on both of them, meaning neither have a built-in lock-off. They both have European belt path routing options as well. No, you don't have to use it just in Europe, but it's a really great feature for being able to install the seats baseless. That's kind of a broad brush overview of the similarities. It's the differences where we really get into the nitty-gritty and is going to help you decide if one of these is better for you than the other. Arguably, the biggest difference between the DualRide and the Doona is the fact that the DualRide can be a carrier. You have to detach it from the wheels though when it's installed in the base. So carrier mode might be helpful for you if you're running a quick errand and you don't need the stroller functionality. The Doona does not have this capability. The wheels are always attached to the carrier portion. Oh, and I also wanted to add that all models have this SensorSafe technology. Also on the DualRide is a lock-strong arm, which helps with a super simple seatbelt installation. Let's talk now about the harnessing differences between the two seats, and there are some really significant ones that I want you to pay super close attention to. The first is newborn baby fit. If you are expecting to have a baby that is on the smaller side or a premature baby, then I really want you to listen up. The harness height on these two seats is really different. So while the DualRide is promoting 3 to 35 pounds and the Doona promotes 4 to 35 pounds in terms of the weight limits of the seat, the DualRide is going to fit a small baby so much better from the get-go. Because of those harness heights, and just as a reminder, harness height is where the shoulder straps are going to be in relation to your child's shoulder. So when your kiddo is rear facing, we want those straps at or just below the shoulder. That's not optional. That's where it has to be to protect them in a car crash. And for our babies without neck control, critical for their breathing position. In the Doona, that lowest harness slot setting is really high for a premature size infant. So that can be a risk for us if you buy this Doona and you're hoping to put a small baby in it, even a average size baby, you may have trouble getting the shoulder strap at or just below the shoulder. Whereas in the DualRide, no issue at all. The shoulder strap height goes really low. It's easily gonna fit this 3-pound baby that it talks about being able to because we can get those straps in the proper position. So pay close attention to that if for any reason you think your baby is going to be on the smaller side. A couple of other things I want to highlight as it relates to harnessing. On the Doona, we have what's called a rethread harness. So those shoulder straps that we're talking about, you have to manually adjust them from one slot to the next. Whereas on the DualRide, you're going to pull the headrest up and down to change the strap position. No big deal either way, just something to be aware of if that's important to you. Because of the fit up to 35 pounds, which by the way, you're not going to be carrying a 3 to 4-year-old in this seat, and that's on average when they hit 35 pounds. What you're really going to be paying attention to is their head height in relation to the top of the shell of the car seat. There's differences here between the two in that as well. So you have to have at least 1 inch of space between the top of your child's head and the top of the shell of the car seat. So in the Doona, it's here just under the canopy. In the DualRide, it's when you fully extend the headrest. It's got to be 1 inch below the fully extended headrest. As you can see, the DualRide's headrest extends quite a bit more than the Doona's shell. So why you care is if you plan to really max out the use of these stroller car seat combination options, the DualRide is going to help you get a child in there for a longer period of time. If you care about things like buckle tongue holders, I want to make sure you know about that too. In the DualRide, you do have these buckle tongue holder features, which means when you're trying to buckle your baby in, you've got a specific slot to pop those crotch buckles in so that it's out of the way for easy harnessing. You don't have that feature on the Doona. That's kind of the highlight of what's happening in the seats. You also do have 1 crotch buckle position in the Doona and 2 in the DualRide, so that can impact fit as well. But it's really that harness strap height for your little babies that I want you to pay super close attention to when you're choosing between the 2 seats. Let's look now at the stroller differences. So first up, you can see that the handle on the DualRide is a little bit taller than it is on the Doona. The other features I want to bring your attention to are you have this optional storage bag here that comes on the DualRide, so that's pretty cool. You cannot ride with this in the car, obviously, and you can also get this cup holder attachment, also has to be removed when you go in the car. The Doona doesn't have either of those accessory features. And then check out the wheels as well. The Doona does have a bit more significant wheelbase than does the DualRide, so something else to take a look at depending on the type of terrain that you will be using the stroller in. I have wheeled both of these on grass, on pavement, on these pavers, like all around. And honestly, I don't feel any difference in terms of wheeling them. As I said, the Doona has a bit bigger wheels, so you may have some more durability with them, but overall, the feel of them is largely the same. Now I want to show you how to collapse them. They're both pretty similar and easy to do. All right, in terms of weight of the seats attached to the wheels, they're both really freaking heavy, but the DualRide is definitely probably 3 pounds heavier or so than the Doona is. Let me set those down. So weight's not gonna be a reason that you're likely gonna choose one over the other. So if you know you want a stroller car seat combination, how do you decide between the two? Here's how I would really narrow it down. First up, if you believe that you're likely to have a newborn baby that is on the smaller side, then the DualRide for sure is going to be the better option for you. We can get that harness to fit exactly how it's supposed to. With the Doona, not going to work well on a smaller than average size baby, and even an average size baby, it could be questionable. The other thing to think about is the DualRide has that carrier capability where you can detach the carrier portion from the wheels. You can't do that with the Doona. If that's important to you, DualRide wins there too. How long are the seats gonna last? Now, I want you to kind of use caution as you think about this. For sure, the DualRide is gonna last longer, meaning your child can be in it for a longer period of time. But you guys, these seats are heavy. And then when you add, a 15, 20 plus pound kid inside these seats, we're talking about really using your muscles to schlep this thing around. So while this one will last you longer, the Doona is still gonna last you a really long time too, but just something that might be important to you. The final thing is looks. Do you prefer the way one looks over the other? That's personal preference, and it may be a deciding factor for you. As always, if you are working on figuring out what is the very best car seat for you, I cannot recommend enough our car seat buying kits that helps you take into consideration all of these factors to choose the best seat for you, including these two. If this video was helpful, please like, subscribe to the page, and if you have additional questions about the DualRide or the Doona, drop them in comments and we'll be sure to answer.